You know, can I make a recommendation?
Sure. What?
I do this for a lot of cities,
Uh-huh.
and I think you need more than that
Okay.
because you want as much diversity as possible.
Okay.
Primarily
I agree.
because you never know when the next disease or insect problem comes along,
Yeah.
and that even can vary from year to year. We find problems. You know, one year everything's fine. The next year, a certain variety of ash will get hit by certain bugs.
Right.
The next year it's perfectly clean.
Right.
So there's this constant kind of rotation and difference in disease and insect problems
Well,
that we see.
we wouldn't plant one street with
Right.
one tree. We
Yeah.
we.
We were thinking like, you know, like 5 of one kind and then 5 of a different kind. And, you know,
Well,
something.
yeah.
we grow 170 varieties.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So that gives you an idea and we don't even have everything that's available out there. So that
Well,
gives you
sure.
an idea
Sure.
of how much diversity is out there. I mean, you could name, there's 5 or 10 elms you could have, there's 10 or 20 maples you could have, there's
Uh-huh.
5 or 10 ash that you could have, there's several serviceberry, there's several hornbeams,
Yeah,
there's several flowering crabs.
Right.
It's on and on. So, you know, and maybe you're thinking that that's too overwhelming, but on the other hand, from my experience, it's nice to have a wide range of diversity so that if the location calls for something different,
Right.
Yeah.
and you
we
only
will
have 1 or 2
Well, that's what
possibilities,
That's
then
what
you-
I was saying. If
you
we have a
want more.
3-foot tree lawn versus an 8-foot tree lawn, I mean, we could plant 2 different kinds of trees,
Yeah.
or several different kinds of
Yeah.
trees.
Right.
But we'd have a specific list for that size versus this size versus
Sure.
a 20-foot.
You bet. For a tree like this, you want a big space.
Right.
For a smaller space, like maybe 5 foot, the Frontier would be fine for
Okay.
that. Whereas
See,
this one would be more like a 6
So
to
that's
8
what
foot.
that's what we're trying to establish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we're going to get some small planters for downtown, like 3-foot concrete planters.
Mhm.
For places where they didn't put street trees in.
Well,
So there's like it's on concrete.
It's on
There's no, it's
concrete.
not even through
No.
the.
No.
Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough.
and I was wondering if there's a shrub that would grow up, you know, 10, 15 feet tall that could be pruned into a tree that would have color or fragrance. Because this is for the downtown
Right,
street,
right.
for Main Street.
Right. That is always a challenge. I mean, you can do it,
Yeah.
but I'll warn you just from experience, from my experience and everybody else's, that's a lot of maintenance to do it right. You got to have the right soils. You got to be watering.
Yes.
A
Yeah,
lot.
we have an agreement that whoever waters the hanging baskets
Good.
will water.
That's a good
will water
idea.
these. I've already talked to
Oh,
the
have you?
chamber about
Okay.
that. Yeah.
That's
You
a
know,
good
and we're not
So-
talking about a lot. We're talking
Good.
They're about
maybe
5 or 6.
5 or 6 at the most.
Are they? How big are they?
3 foot in diameter.
3 foot. So that's pretty small.
Pretty small.
So you want a fairly small tree.
And I've told them that they're probably going to have to replace these every 5 years or so.
Yeah, that's good. You're right there because that's what happens on them. You just miss, you know, a little bit of watering sometime,
Yeah,
and
they croak.
They croak. They die, or they get root bound, or something
Yeah.
happens to them. So, surprisingly, one of the better trees that works in those areas is a Japanese maple,
Okay.
and we don't grow those.
Okay.
All right, and so if you could just find straight green or red leafed Japanese maples, I could probably help you find some if you needed some help.
Okay.
But they tend to be, although they are, the reason that we don't grow them is because they're very susceptible to verticillium wilt. And in an ag valley like this, we have
Lots of it. floating
lots
around.
of floating around. Even though we fugate our soils, we even
Oh, do you?
fumigate
Cover-
the soils,
cover 'em up.
kill everything,
Yeah.
reintroduce mycorrhizae to,
Right.
in the fields. We still
You
have
Vapam or
problems.
something?
It's
Or something like that.
yeah, it's Vapam and I can't remember the other methylbromide.
Oh, okay.
Methylbromide,
Okay.
and we cover the fields with plastic,
Plastic,
and
sure.
I mean it's
Water
a
it
small
in.
fortune to do it, but
Oh,
we wouldn't
yeah.
be able to grow any maples if we didn't do it.
Okay.
But Japanese maples are so susceptible that it's
Yeah,
just
because we've tried it at our own private home. We've had 2 of them die.
Yeah,
And I bet that's why.
they're so
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah.
But if you put them in planters and you start out with good
Good
sterile
soil.
soil,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And you can't just go out in the fields
No.
and pull it in. You'll just kill everything, because I've seen that happen, you know.
Okay.
Sterile
So you need
soil.
some good sterile soil, and you probably want to introduce the right kind of mycorrhizae that would be, you know, good for the
Beneficial
tree.
for those. Yeah.
You probably could get by with growing the Japanese maples in those.
In
That's
the
what
pots.
I would probably recommend over anything probably that we have here.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Now, I saw a pot, and so I want to ask you, smoke tree,
Yeah.
with those,
You know, I really honestly don't have much experience
with them? Okay.
those.
I don't
it
either.
Sounds
Colatura?
like you.
Colatura, is it?
Those are the ones with the,
No,
Yeah.
Colatura is the golden rain tree.
Oh, golden ring.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've got one.
we've got
that
those.
goes, yeah.
But the smoke tree, I can't remember them. Yeah, it's considered a shrub. We don't really grow those.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, yeah, 'cause they don't ever get very big, the ones
Right,
I've seen.
right, right. They're beautiful though.
Yeah.
They are really neat.
So that might be something to look at.